Join me as I explore all things Derry Girls in the city of Derry. While the city of Derry does have a ton of political history, this video in particular I plan on keeping nice and light. It's my first full day in Derry and I'm hoping to grab a quick bite to eat before I do a Derry Girls original sites walking tour. Well, who do we have here? I already know that this is where the walking tour is going to end up, but it's nice to see the Derry Girls mural nice and early in the morning before lots of tourists surround it. But then again, maybe Derry won't have many tourists in late November. The first time I visited Derry was in June of 2022, and there were tons of tourists around the Derry Girls mural, but in November, not so much. So I just finished my Derry Girls walking tour and I didn't do much filming because it was a private tour with just me and I did not want to be disrespectful. The guide had my full attention, but I'm sure I will be seeing some of those same sights later today. This video is not intended to be an all-inclusive list of the various sites that you can see within Derry related to the Derry Girls show, but I did my best to remember different things from the original sites walking tour I went on. The building you just saw is what's called the Guildhall within Derry, and that is the building that the Derry Girls were standing in front of as they waited for President Bill Clinton to speak, and it is that building that Bill Clinton did in fact speak in front of back in 1995. The city of Derry is also sometimes called the Walled City, and the wall just behind the Guildhall is where James proclaimed that he too was a Derry girl. The Guildhall is also where Orla in season 3 went to register to vote. After my Derry Girls original sites tour that took me all over the city of Derry, I paid a visit to the Tower Museum that currently has a Derry Girls exhibition. And I must say it was way better than I could have even imagined. Not only did the exhibit have items like James's camcorder, but it also had an interview with the show's creator, Lisa McGee, playing, where she discussed things like what she viewed the characters' future occupations as being. And in her view, she sees James being a future documentarian. Here we can see a set of car keys with the Quinn family crest. You can also see a St. Bridget's cross. One thing I thought was quite adorable about the interview with Lisa McGee is that she said she sometimes lost sleep over the idea of what Orla would be in the future, but she sees Orla as being some kind of coach, maybe for like a hockey team, and that team going off to something like the Olympics. So Orla, one way or another, she's going to get things figured out and she's going to make things work for herself. The exhibit also had fun tidbits of information sprinkled throughout, like the fact that the DeLorean model of car was made at a plant outside of the city of Belfast, which, like Derry, is located in the north of Ireland. Here we can see Granddad Joe, who unfortunately is looking a bit pale. Then, of course, we have Erin's diary, which Orla took it upon herself to memorize parts of. And hey, it's Aunt Sarah. looking well as always. And hey, it's Mom Mary. When I saw her wearing that jumper or sweater on the show, I absolutely loved it. So it was a pleasant surprise to see it as part of the museum. And is that Grandad Joe's surfboard I see? So many of the items on display were just so precious, and I particularly liked getting to see Orla's Walkman and her mixtape, which of course was an actual cassette tape. A week or two before my visit to Derry, I was able to visit the Tato Crisp Factory, which is in Tandragee in the north of Ireland. So seeing the corkboard in the museum that mentioned a tale of two Tatos, because if you did not know, there is a brand of Tato in the north of Ireland and also a brand of Tato in the south of Ireland. So this whole idea of a two Tato nation, I found that to be extremely comical. And I believe that right there is Erin's Easter frock. I thought it was so cool how the museum had so many of the girls' costumes from the show. I can't say I remember which character wore each of these outfits or in what context they were worn, but it was fun trying to guess. And if I had to guess, I would say those pajamas belong to Aunt Sarah. They look like something she would wear. The museum also had an Our Lady Immaculate College blazer and jumper for guests to wear, a much appreciated bonus gesture. While the wearers of some of the costumes were more difficult to guess than others, that onesie has Orla's name written all over it. And look, we have Sister Michael's desk chair. And we can also see Sister Michael's unfortunately broken office statue. Here we have some kind of polling station and a ballot box. What could this be? Oh, it's just some survey about the museum. I'll go ahead and put that back. The exhibit within the Tower Museum was a fantastic addition to my original site's walking tour, and I must say in late November it was a nice break from the cold outside, but they would not let me buy any of their Kit Kats. They kept saying they were for display only. One of the many great things they had on display was an invitation to Orla and Erin's 18th birthday party, literary greats and monkeys. And speaking of literature, Foyle Books is where Erin Quinn attempted to read some Shakespeare. Funny enough, the show's creator, Lisa McGee, theorized that in the future, Erin Quinn would ultimately become an author herself. In addition to the real-life sites that made it into the Derry Girls TV show, the city seems to be quite proud of Derry Girls' success, and I was able to spot a few characters around the city, such as Sister Michael and Grandad Joe. One of the original sites included in my walking tour was this building, and I knew the minute I saw it, that's where Ma Mary got caught hanging out with the plumber. One thing that was not included in my original sites tour, but was part of the show, was this structure right here. I made it! How cool is this? Oh my gosh, I love it. This structure was not included in the walking tour because it was a bit out of the way, and due to some construction taking place, it was actually pretty difficult for me to get to, but I'm glad I stuck it out and made it. I know there was at least one occasion in season 1 and then one occasion in season 3 where the girls were spotted at this site, but of course there may be others that I just don't recall. Well, I just had a super fun photo shoot. I'm really glad I was able to find this thing. And look, there's a photo of me with all my friends. I wouldn't really call it a tourist attraction or directly related to the Derry Girls show, but on my last day in Derry, I decided to visit the Visit Derry Centre, and I was pleasantly surprised to see so much Derry Girls merchandise. But I talked to one of the employees, and maybe I shouldn't have been so surprised because the employee mentioned that the Derry Girls show alone is probably responsible for about half of the current tourism in Derry. I just love all of the creative items available and references to the show, like even this pin that includes Erin's report card. I'm pretty surprised that she was able to get an A in Irish, but an F in English literature. And of course, here is a punt purse for Mom Mary. One of the things I really would have loved to have seen is Dennis's Wee Shop. Unfortunately, it was demolished a few years ago. But I did spot a sign for Pump Street in my best Aunt Sarah voice. What were you doing heading up Pump Street with a cream horn, Da? In one of the episodes, Orla did a little spin around this pole, but at the time, this building was more of a pink color. It has since been repainted, and that might be because this is Derry's Freemason Hall. As I mentioned, this video did not include an all-inclusive list of the Derry Girls related things you can see within the city of Derry. I'm sure there were things that I either missed or forgot to record, but if you all will excuse me, I need to go call my new boyfriend.